So I'm on a mission to find out why haven't I yet cruised on celebrity cruise lines? And honestly, Celebrity Equinox is not helping the cause. There's one pretty nice itinerary, a handful of solid ones, and a whole bunch of Hey, welcome to This is the Cruise. I'm Clint, and this is the channel where we look at upcoming cruise itineraries and try to find out if this is the cruise for you. Today, we're looking at Celebrity Equinox's 2024-2025 Caribbean cruise itineraries. In parts 1 and 2 of this Why Haven't I Cruised Celebrity series, I looked at Celebrity Edge class itineraries, and now we're moving on to the Solstice class. So let's dive in and take a look at what's on offer. But first, of course, if you enjoy the content, do me a favor, hit the like button. It really helps me out. And even more when you subscribe to the channel, that really helps me out. And I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm so close, I can taste it. So please like and subscribe, it would really help me out. And I want to quickly mention, if any of my itinerary reviews have helped you pick an itinerary, consider buying me a cup of coffee. There's a secure and safe link in the description below where you can make a little donation. It helps me out as I'm trying to grow the channel, trying to get better equipment, trying to tell better stories, and bring better ratings to you. Also, I just launched my channel membership option, which lets you join the channel for only $1 a month. You get some behind the scenes looks, you get discounts on merch, and I am working this summer diligently on my cruise rating app, and I'm looking for some beta testers for this, and that I'll open up to my channel members. So I really appreciate all the support. All right, there are 2 Celebrity Solstice ships cruising to the Caribbean this upcoming cruise season: the Equinox and the Eclipse. The Eclipse itineraries tend to be a little bit longer, and with just a couple of exceptions, every single itinerary scores higher on the Eclipse than the itineraries on the Equinox. I'm just saying, I'm reviewing those in my next video, so like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that. The good thing is, when we look at these 2 ships, they're almost identical. You know, they're nice, they're a little bit smaller than the Edge class, but they're not small ships. The Equinox was built in 2009 and the Eclipse was built in 2010. The only thing that I noticed that may be a deciding factor, if the ship is a factor for you between these 2, is that the Eclipse was refreshed in 2021 and the Equinox was refreshed in 2019. The Eclipse may feel a little bit newer, but they're almost identical otherwise. So let's just quick look at an overview of the itineraries. I am not going to review every single one because on Celebrity's website, they show for the Equinox 20 different itineraries for the Caribbean season. And that's too much to review. And they can be a little bit tough to determine what region they're cruising because some will combine regions in one itinerary. I did my best to break them down and look at the different regions that the Equinox is cruising to. All of the itineraries leave from Port Canaveral. And then if you're going to be on a Western Caribbean cruise, you likely will visit Belize or Costa Maya or Cozumel or get down to Honduras, Roatan, Honduras, or visit the Cayman Islands, which is a little bit further east in the Western Caribbean region. You could go to the Eastern Caribbean, and those visit St. Kitts, St. Martin, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, the Dominican Republic, and I'm going to talk about this. They also go to Haiti, to Labadee, Haiti, which is the private sort of bay that they have that's secluded on Haiti. We've got some itineraries to look at there that are a consideration. Lastly, there are the Bahama itineraries, and those tend to focus on either Bimini, Nassau, or the excellent Coco Cay. So keep those in mind as we look at where we're going and where we're cruising to here. I do want to also point out that some itineraries visit Key West as well, and while I like Key West, I wouldn't necessarily pick an itinerary because it goes to Key West. It's just a nice relaxing stop along the way to somewhere else. Nothing against Key West, it's just not one of those premier marquee destinations that some of these itineraries have. Lastly, I should mention that all of these itineraries, with one exception, are 7-day itineraries. And I'll let you know about that exception because I think it's one you need to avoid. So if it seems like I'm not excited about these itineraries, I'm not. And here's why. The Equinox is cruising 20 itineraries in the Caribbean. They're all 7-day itineraries, except for one, and they all only visit 3 stops. If this is your first time to my channel, let me quickly say that I look for a 2-to-1 port to sea day ratio. That's really important when we're picking out itineraries. I don't want to spend a day at sea and then a port and then a day at sea and then a port and then a day at sea and then a port and then a day at sea and then a port and a day at sea and a port. Like 1-to-1 or even less than that in some cases. That's just not for me. I look for itineraries that have as many stops as possible, and then from there the quality of stops. So far with what I'm seeing on Equinox, I'm not thrilled, but there is again one exception, so we'll get to that. Stay tuned. Okay, let's get out of the way the one that I would recommend avoiding. It's called the Bahamas Getaway. It leaves on December 3rd, and it visits Bimini and Nassau, and you're back. It's a 4-day itinerary, and honestly, I would rather be on any cruise than no cruise. You can always stay on the ship, you can make the most of it, you can feel the sea air. There's always a silver lining when cruising, even if the stops aren't that great. Here's the problem is that I don't cruise for free. I have a regular job and I have to use money from that job to pay for these cruises. And this cruise is coming in just shy, before any additional port fees and things, just shy of $800 a person for a 4-day cruise. $200 a day per person to go to Bimini and Nassau, which are the 2 weakest destinations of all the ports on offer here on this ship. So I can't recommend it. So this one gets a variety score of only 2 because you leave from the US, so you get a point there. You cruise to the Bahamas, you get 1 point there for a variety of countries, just 2. And it gets a cleanse cruisability score of 11.72. I was curious, where does this rank in all of my ratings? Well, I have 191 cruises in my database that are all scored, and this one comes in at number 185 out of 191. It's not great. You're on a good ship, but it's not a good itinerary. Okay, we've talked enough about that. Let's get to the stuff that maybe we would want to go on. Well, I have one more that I'm hesitant about. This one actually came in 2nd place of the Equinox itineraries. This one is the Key West, Puerto Plata, and Labadee itinerary. It leaves on January 25th. I'm hesitant to recommend this one because it goes to Labadee, Haiti. With all of the unrest in Haiti, that part of Haiti is safe, but Royal Caribbean isn't cruising there. They've been diverting cruises. I have a friend who went on Royal Caribbean, and Royal Caribbean is Celebrity. If you don't know that, Royal Caribbean owns Celebrity. So Royal Caribbean, the parent company, has started to divert ships. And a friend who was on a Royal Caribbean cruise, they were supposed to go to Labadee, and then they ended up going to Bimini instead, and that was a bummer. And I would not want to be on this cruise. Go to Key West is good, Puerto Plata is good, and then get rerouted to Bimini. Now, if we were getting rerouted to Coco Cay, absolutely. But maybe even worse is they just cancel the port altogether and you have another sea day. And that would probably be an even bigger bummer. So I struggle recommending this one. It gets a variety score of 3.5 and a cleanse cruisability score of 18.01. Significantly better than the other one. It's a 7-day. We have one more stop. And it is the 2nd highest scoring itinerary. So that being said, like I said, I pretty much would rather be on any cruise than no cruise. If these were the dates that worked for me and the price was just an amazing value, then I would go on it and I would just say, we might go to Haiti or we might not. And wherever we go, even if it's a sea day, is fine because we're cruising. So there's that consideration. Now for some really positive ones. Let's do, before I get to my pick, let's talk about an honorable mention, or should I say honorable mentions. If you go to Celebrity's website and pick us and sort of go into the itineraries, depending on how you go in, you might see this as one itinerary with 4 dates, 4 or 5 dates. You might see this with 4 or 5 dates. Or you may see this as 4 different itineraries with 5 different sailings. It's not quite as clean as it should be, but this itinerary has 3 names. It's the same itinerary. It is known as St. Martin, San Juan, and Puerto Plata, that departs on December 7th, or the Eastern Caribbean Holiday Cruise that leaves on December 21st. That makes sense. Or Puerto Plata, San Juan, and St. Martin that leaves on January 18th, 2025, or March 29th, 2025. They're all the same itineraries. They go to St. Martin, San Juan, and Puerto Plata. It's just the order changes up a little bit. And then because there is that one that's over Christmas, it's the holiday cruise. And I've done holiday cruises before. They're enjoyable. They're fun to bring the family on, but there's going to be a lot of kids and a lot of families there. So if you're looking for a quieter getaway, that's definitely not the cruise for you. But if you're looking for a great way to spend Christmas, maybe it is the cruise for you. This one, again, these are all the same itineraries, so I've got the dates up here on the screen for you, or are they up here on the screen for you? This one gets a variety score of 3.5 and a Clint's cruisability score of 17.79. So compared to the previous itinerary, the ratings are pretty close. And between the one that goes to Labadee and this one that goes to St. Martin, San Juan, and Puerto Plata, I honestly, personally would rather take this one. It's a little bit further east. I love San Juan, really want to get to St. Martin, and Puerto Plata has some really interesting cultural experiences in the city. Okay, so let's get to This Is the Cruise. Like and subscribe before we do that. Okay, so the cruise that wins on the Equinox, and not by just a little bit, it wins handily, is the Belize, Honduras, and Mexico cruise that leaves on December 14th. It's not the cheapest itinerary. As you get closer to the holidays, it gets a little bit more expensive, and here we're right up against the holidays. However, it does leave a little bit earlier than some winter breaks, so it's not as expensive as the holiday itinerary. This one visits Costa Maya, Belize, Roatan, Honduras, and Cozumel. That's 4 stops. 4 stops. So we know that these 7-day itineraries can have 4 stops. They're doing it here. They're going to the Western Caribbean. They're getting all the way down to Honduras, across the Gulf of Mexico. It can be done. Come on, let's get those other 7 days up, especially the ones that go east. Okay, so I digress here. So this is 4 stops. I don't love that we have 2 stops in Mexico. That does kind of hurt the score a little bit from a variety perspective. And what I would recommend is that when you get to Costa Maya, explore the Mayan ruins. And then when you get to Belize, do some cave kayaking and maybe some zip lining. And then when you get down to Honduras, check out the whale sharks. Go swimming with the whale sharks. That would be amazing. But if whale sharks are maybe a little intimidating, hang out on the beach. I could do that too. That would be really nice. And finally, when you get to Cozumel, I'm not a big fan of the beaches in Cozumel. There's quite a bit to do in the sea and the ocean. And one of my favorite excursions I've ever done on any cruise at any port is do the America's Cup sail experience, where you're racing the America's Cup sailboats. Space is very limited on those, so if you can get in, do it. It's amazing. Highly, highly recommend it. This itinerary, the Belize, Honduras, and Mexico itinerary on December 14th, gets a variety score of 4 and a Clint's cruisability score of 19.11. I did skip over a lot of itineraries. There are ones that go to St. Kitts we didn't talk about. We obviously didn't talk about any that go to Key West. But you kind of get the spread from 11 and some change at the very bottom end all the way up to almost 20, 19 and some change. If the Bahamas are on the itinerary and you're looking at one of the itineraries that are going to the Bahamas, make sure it's going to Coco Cay. That is so much better. The private islands that the cruise lines have are so much better than stopping at Nassau or Bimini. So I would be focused more, if it says Bahamas, just confirm what Bahamian island you are going to. Personally, I prefer Eastern Caribbean itineraries over Western Caribbean itineraries, but 3 days at sea and with only 3 stops is just not ideal for me. And I prefer the Southern Caribbean over the Eastern Caribbean even more, and the Equinox isn't going to the Southern Caribbean. So these are the options. So my quest continues. There's got to be something out there that Celebrity Cruise Line is doing where I look at an itinerary and I say, this is the cruise for me. I guess we'll see you next time.